What's up, everybody? Hope you're doing great. I want to do a quick live session, and just was thinking about failure today, and how oftentimes we have a tendency to just draw a line in the sand and say, okay, I'm not doing really well at this or that, something that's not something that we anticipated. It's not going as well as we wanted it to, and that can be the real detriment, is that we end up thinking to ourselves, hey, I thought life was meant to go a certain way, and it doesn't go that certain way, and all of a sudden we say to ourselves, oh my gosh, I'm not doing well. Davis, what's up, my man? Hope you're doing well. Love our snaps back and forth, by the way.
In 2 miles, use the right
so
two lanes
the fascinating
to take
thing
the US
here is,
51
let's use, for example, Davis, you think, okay, at my age, I should be at a certain level. Maybe I should have a certain level of grades, have a certain level of degrees, or, relationship. Other people think I should have a certain number of, you should have a certain car, a certain house. And the problem with that is that you're drawing that line, or you're evaluating yourself as a point in time, which might not make sense at all. If you look at even Wikipedia and you search up Colonel Sanders, the founder of KFC, you'll realize that for all purposes, before 65, he really didn't do much. He tried his hand at different things and didn't really amount to anything. And all of a sudden, when he was pulling a Social Security paycheck, when most people are retired, all of a sudden he launches this crazy KFC brand. And now the cool thing is that he actually documented trying to peddle this thing to over 1,000 people. So when most people are sitting down on a porch, waiting for time to kind of pass them by in retirement, here's this dude trying to sling this awesome golden recipe of fried chicken and couldn't get anybody to, no takers, and all of a sudden has success. And so I think oftentimes to ourselves, we think, oh, well, at this particular stage, I should have been somewhere else. And in reality, it doesn't matter at all. The whole point is for us to be able to just run hard and heavy at whatever seems appropriate for ourselves and be okay with that, and then allow then time to take care of whether we've gotten to that certain point or not. But I find a lot of people put a lot of personal stress in their own lives just based on wanting to be at a certain level. And those levels don't mean anything, right? Like someone says, oh, at 35, I thought I'd have this or that. The problem is that at a young mind, when you thought of those things, they didn't exist, right? Like I never thought about myself having a cell phone before, but now I do. And then I don't have any aspirations to get a newer phone, but other people do, and so I understand that. And so that's where I think oftentimes, like, goals are important. Write them down. I think they're valuable. What I'd say, though, along with writing down goals, is be flexible, because goals are constantly changing. And the moment that you and I put a lot of weight about our lives, oh, Amy, what's up, girl? When we put a lot of weight on our goals, where we're like, oh, I'm not accomplishing what I thought I would. But what you thought you would accomplish might be total garbage, right? Like when I was younger, right? When I was a teenager, I honestly didn't think about becoming a father. Like, yeah, I loved to date. I wanted to have a lot of lady friends, but I didn't want to have, I just never thought about having a family. And so it doesn't mean that now that I have a family, it's a bad thing. It doesn't mean that now that I have a family that I should throw away all the other things. It's just that things shift and things change, and we want to be able to adjust to that. Hey, what's up? Max, what's up, bro? So that's where I think a lot of times we have a tendency to put a lot of pressure on ourselves to accomplish these different things that we kind of said to ourselves, oh, I hope when I'm older I'm driving this kind of car. Well, you said that when you're 16. When you were 16, you thought Beth Sanders was the hottest girl around. And guess what? Beth Sanders wasn't the hottest girl around. That's what you just thought at 16. There's a lot of hotter other chicks in high school than Beth Sanders, okay? No, there wasn't a Beth Sanders. There was Leslie Rothera, but I did hook up with her. So, I throw that out there because I think a lot of times people get stressed out, they put a lot of anxiety on themselves, and they might even get to a point of a little bit of depression. I'll call it not like clinical depression, I'll just call it like a little bit of sadness, a little bit of micro depression, where it compels them not to move forward. And that's where the detriment comes in, right? Is where each of us say to ourselves, okay, because I'm not where I thought I would be, I'm not going to do something. And that, I think, all of a sudden can really be debilitating for ourselves. Mike, what's up? Merunik. Welcome. And so that's where I think oftentimes we tell ourselves, oh man, I shouldn't do that, or oh, I thought I'd be somewhere else. And so we downplay ourselves. We might look ourselves in the mirror and say, I thought you'd be more along, Sherm, what are you doing? You should be way further along in life. According to who? According to 14-year-old Sherm? Yeah, 14-year-old Sherm was a moron. I've read your journal, Sherm, at 14, and you were an idiot because that girl wasn't that hot. Anyway, a lot of driving advice, dating advice. Yeah, the reason why the dating advice is because I've been talking to Davis, and I totally been thinking about and also I was asked to be able to participate in the local youth group of my church, age 14 and older, and that's what's on their mind is dating. So literally, I've literally been going back to my journal and reading it and like, okay, what does the 14-year-old mindset think about? And for me, it was all about dating. I did write a book on dating. It's called The True Gentleman. You can find it on Amazon. You have to kind of search the True Gentleman, a.k.a. a Mac. Okay, vernacular for me. Mac was like a stud, a Mac daddy. It's an old terminology. I wanted to be a ladies' man. That was the whole goal. And literally, when it came to so I took Mama's advice here. Don't settle down with anybody until you're 20. And you don't know what you want. You're an idiot. You're a teenager. She didn't call me an idiot, but she knew how to handle the Sherm. She probably called me silly. Another version of calling me an idiot. And so, and I'll agree. I probably was an idiot back then. And so I wrote this book. So what happened was I got to college. I literally went all out. There was literally so many comments in my journal that I said, oh, hey, I met this girl at the bookstore. I met this girl. And so my buddy and I, my roommate at the time, Nick Jones, Vanilla Thunder from California, we would put down on our voicemail. I'm old school. We had a landline, and we would put down all the girls' names. We'd have Emily Monday, Wednesday, Friday at the creamery. She worked at the local creamery. Or we had
turn right onto West Bridge Street.
Other girls, and so we had 60 names. So girls would literally call our voicemail just to see if their name was on it. And so the way that I had the dating rules was, if I dated Samantha, let's say I went on to just, and let me just describe this. A date for me was just going out and hanging out, okay? So, maybe we grabbed dinner, maybe we went out and played laser tag or something, watched a movie. Tried to avoid watching movies. You don't really get to know somebody because you're just sitting there watching a movie. Anyway, so then what I would do is, if I dated, let's say, Amy on Friday, I'd have to put 3 other girls in before I could go back to Amy. And so it became like this game for me, is that how many people could I get to know? And literally my freshman year of college, went on hundreds of dates. It was phenomenal. Let's see. I never asked for dating advice, Davis. You didn't ask for it, buddy. I'm giving it. I'm picking up the book right now. Mike, it is hysterical. It's vernacular. It's the 1990s. I'm updating some of it because some of these 14-year-old, 15-year-old boys, they want to read it. And I kept it pretty G-rated, just because I don't want them to come back and be like, dude, I was totally hooking up with all these chicks, and, I got a girl pregnant when I was 19. Well, you're a moron. You didn't read what I said. I said, don't get serious with somebody until you're 21. You got to think. Let's see. I found the book on Amazon. It's hysterical, man. I am picking it up, and I don't even date. Yeah, it's just a lot of fun. Anyway, so where I'm going with this is, oftentimes when you're young, you think to yourself, let me just say young from a standpoint of dating. You might think, oh, this is the right person for me. And then after being in a relationship for a while, you realize, oh no, we're not really as compatible as I thought. And there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with her when you decide to walk away. Now, there might be some ugly things, right? Like she started hitting on somebody else. Maybe she, hooked up with her old prom date. There might be some ugly things that occurred. It doesn't reflect poorly on you if all of a sudden you're 35 and you're single, which, by the way, I was. I was a single dad at that time. Well, this is... Hold on a second. This is seriously affecting my productivity. It could be everyone. That is awesome, Davis. I don't mean to be totally distracting. So the reason why I've been bringing up this idea of failure is because I think oftentimes we have a tendency to judge ourselves when we don't know the full story that we're actually writing. Because the weird thing about it is we're authors, but we're not we don't have 20/20. We're not reflecting back and going, oh, this is, we're recounting it. We're writing the story as it happens. And so oftentimes things happen and go weird the way that we didn't think. Let's see, Amy, now you should write a dating book for adults. Yeah, I totally should. It'd be a ton of fun. The funny thing about it, Amy, is the advice is still the same. It really is. It's just, get out to know people, be more interested in somebody else than your own self, and just have fun. And no still means no. You just got to understand that. So now I'm just picking up a photo at Walgreens here for my son. So one thing that I just wanted to talk to you guys about is, in my particular situation, I am literally going backwards in order to go forwards. So I'm back in an hourly working job in order to get my business up where I want it to be. It's weird.
Right there, right?
Yeah, no problem. Just one photo.
What's the last name?
Last name's On. It's O-N. 35. Is it 35 cents? What's up?
I'm gonna have to have you check this out up front because I actually don't have
That's
a
cool.
register right here. So
Cool. I'll take it out front, man. Thank you very much. It's all good. So, and I'll be honest, I loved dating. I just did. It's just a ton of fun.
Thanks. Yep.
Tell the cashier. Hey, cashier.
Yes.
You're on live, dude. What's up? Say hi. He says hi. All right. Got it. Let's see. I'll ask a different cashier because we walked away from him already. Let's see. Jasper. I did say hi. So I think when it comes to failure, just understand kind of where that context comes from. What's going on? Let's see. It's Tyler. Tyler on an Instagram live session. There we go. See, there's Tyler.
Oh God, how many viewers do you have?
Just 5, man. We're not going crazy. Is it 35 cents?
Yeah, 35 cents.
Boom, bingo. We're done. See you, Tyler. Have a great night, man.
You too, thank you.
24/7 Walgreens. So let me go back to this craziness. So the cashier could totally use it. Both of them actually. I'll come back here and I'll pitch it to him. So here's the strange thing about it. Number one is you want to know what you want, right, in life. And so for me, I want to run my own business. And so the downside of running your own business is that sometimes it doesn't go as well as you want it to, right? It doesn't go as fast as you thought it would. Love the hair. Thanks, by the way. It's a little bit crazy today, but that's where we're rolling. Thanks for the hearts, by the way. It makes me know that we're on pace. So I picked up a third shift job in order to be able to make sure that I can make that things, I can pay for crap like food and rent until I shifted over to this other company. And so it's been weird. I haven't been paid an hourly wage, where you check in and someone pays you money per hour, since I was 22 years old. It was before I graduated from college, and I'm 38, guys. So I'm literally, is it swallowing pride as much as it's just the reality of life, right? So for me, I have a certain obligation to family, and this is kind of what we wanted to be able to do from a standpoint of, have a large family, and so this is just what has to get done. So I'm working a third shift job from 9:30 to 6 in the morning at Sam's Club. So I am working with people that this is their career, like they are making their life out of this, and for me, this is just a stepping stone. So the interesting thing about it is, number one, I don't think there's any small jobs. I don't think I'm better than anybody else just because I pull in a bigger income than they do, and nor do I think that the job is less than me. You got to bust your hump and you got to work hard no matter where you are. But I find the mentality is so much different where, for me, because I don't see this as like a career, I don't get caught up in some of the small things, right? Like, for example, we had a company picnic, and one of the guys was like, "Oh, you went to the company picnic, you must be kissing butt." And I was like, "You're a corporate kiss up." And I was like, "No, they're giving out free food. I got a family of 7. I'm not going to pass up free food. I'm not a moron." I got cheering on the radio. Yeah, no, that's sweet. Should we have a soundtrack? We should. Music is the soundtrack of life, isn't it? So the interesting thing about this is, I think oftentimes for a lot of us, the amazing thing about the economy right now is one of the big things that we can't keep track of. We, as in like economists, not me, that's an economist, but can't keep track of side hustles that people are doing. And so I think oftentimes to have the side hustle, it's totally up to you. Like you know, Gary Vaynerchuk, I think a lot of you, a lot of us met through him, is that he talks about, like, you know, flipping things. For me, I have no desire to go like rummage at crap, you know, and nor do I have the patience to like go online and pitch crap. So for me, because I'm up already at, like, I'm a night owl, I don't mind. My kids are sleeping, my wife is sleeping, going from like 9:30 to 6 o'clock, and, you know, moving big bags of dog food or driving a forklift. Now, other people are like, no, I can never do that based on their need for sleep. For me, I need like 5 hours and I'm good. So basically, I get home, get the boys off to school, hang out with the wife. We usually go to the YMCA, and then we'll go home. And then I'll sleep from, like, you know, 10 to 2 or something. And then I'll get on my other job and make phone calls and do the financial services, insurance, and investment side of the business. So it's just the nature of the beast, and it's a balance, right? It's new, but if I look at a year ago where my life was, a year ago, I had just gotten married, and I had 3 boys. You know, fast forward now, we have 4 boys, married still, which is good, and then we have our mother-in-law living with us, and so we have a very different dynamic. And so if I would do the exact same thing and expect something different to change, I'm kind of kidding myself, right? So I kind of needed to go and do something different in order to get myself where I wanted to be. And so that's exactly what's happening. So I'm joining these 2 financial advisors here in my local town, and in 18 months they're going to retire. And so had I not been in this situation, I wouldn't have actually looked for this situation. And actually, I know if I fast forward, like, the way that I see it panning out, and let's say it pans out like partially to what I think it would, I'll be in a way better position in like a year. And even fast forward like 4 to 5 years from now, I'll be in a way better position long term. And so that's kind of where I think about things. Like, I don't consider myself a failure at all. However, there's that voice in my mind that says, "Oh, Sherman, you totally screwed the pooch. You totally missed out. You're not where you should be. You should be way ahead." I agree. I'm going through this. Yeah, absolutely. You should go through with this. And so that's the moment that I think we can understand really where failure has its place in our lives, is we can understand that, number one, if we're still hacking at life, if we're still moving forward at things that we want to accomplish, then there isn't failure. That doesn't exist. And if any of you have the opportunity to read Shoe Dog, it's, you know, Buck Knight, the founder of Nike. If you have an opportunity to read his book, phenomenal, as he reflects back and he talks about, for the first 10 to 12 years, Nike just struggled along. Even though he had a number of employees, and they were making like $4 million, $3 million at year 10. He was still like living check to check, borrowing money from employees' parents. And so I think oftentimes we cut ourselves a little bit short when we say, "Oh, it didn't work out, I'm walking away." It is, Mike. It's just a phenomenal read, and I'm glad you read it. And Davis read it too. And Amy, what it makes me think about, guys, if you haven't checked out Amy's, I'm going to pin her here. She started her own business. So go on and check it out. I know there's some compression socks in there. I really like that idea. And then she sells some other things for like running. I think she's passionate about running. And so I think it's something like this where Amy's like, okay, hey, I have this little thing I'm doing on the side. I want it to generate more revenue. I want it to be bigger than what it is right now. Well, let's say it takes like 2 years, and all of a sudden she can now walk away from her current job and do this full time. Isn't that pretty awesome? I think it's pretty awesome. Where somebody might say, no, well, it didn't happen in 6 months. Well, why are you giving her a deadline? Like, why does it matter if it happens in 2 years versus 6 months? I know a lot of us have aspirations to be at a certain place, right? Like, but it reminds me of Davis in college. There's only so fast he can take classes. There's only so much information he can absorb and then pass exams to move forward. So we can't propel that quicker. It reminds me of, by the way, did you know that July is the worst time to go to the hospital, especially if you're near a teaching hospital, because they have all these new med students that just graduated and they haven't really sat down with patients before. So there's a lot of things that get missed. So anyway, to avoid the hospital in July. And so I think about the doc that I'm going to sit down with. Let's say I'm going to have open heart surgery, which I never will have because I try to stay healthy. I should never say never because either way, let's say I go down for surgery. I'd rather have the doc that's done 1,000 surgeries already, and I'm the 1,000th, right? I want to be the freaking McDonald's version customer of that doctor, right? I want billions served before he decides to slice me open. Where other people, and you can't shortcut that, right? Like, he can't be like, oh, I've had 1,000 surgeries in one day. It doesn't work that way, because I don't trust your experience then if you were able to shortcut the process. And I think that's oftentimes how life is, that it has a tendency to teach us lessons as we move along. And yes, we can propel it quicker, right? So if, let's say, I know in my business, if you contact 10 people a day on the insurance and investment side of the business and for sales, then you're going to be able to have success. But if you want to fast forward that, then do 20. And it doesn't matter the time it takes. It's all about context, right? So if you're voracious and you can hit those 20 out in 6 hours, more power to you. And you can go home and know that you've had a good day. So that's kind of the idea. Hey, I'm alive because I have surgeons and docs like that. Oh, that's beautiful. What a testimony, right? But that's what we want, right? We want docs that have been through the fire, that they've done what they needed to get done. Amy, cool. It is cool. Thanks for the shout out. I agree. Long term thinking and bringing value. Absolutely. Sherman Jules. Davis, you're awesome. Hey, I'm alive because yeah. If any of you know, I'm gonna put Davis's story here. If you guys want to check it out, it's got a really unique story about how he, where he is, based on what's happened to him in life, and so that's how he and I got connected. So I think each of us, as you think about where you're at in life, be reassured that there's some 38-year-old, this crazy Asian, that had to reset life, relationship, financially. Financially, that was actually, I'm restarting it all over again. What am I talking about? I'm going through a third shift right now. And so each of us have an opportunity to get where we want to go. And it's okay to not be exactly where you want it to be. You can get there and believe in yourself. Have that reassurance, have that hope that this soon will pass. Whatever struggle that you might find yourself in. And some of the struggles might be exactly what we wanted, right? It might be getting that side hustle. It might be getting into the college that we wanted to. There's that old phrase, be careful what you wish for, because you just might get it. So if there's any way that you doubt yourself, feel free, DM me. I would love to be able to be that buoy, that hot air that helps keep you risen through the struggles of life. Have a great night, everybody. Peace. Thanks for the attention.